dance. We'll get it right eventually.
Okay, should there be a moratorium on Syrian refugees entering the U.S.?
Okay.
Let's go with 2 minutes.
If we're going to assert that we are pro-family, how do we turn our backs on little babies that are being buried in rubble for 4 or 5 days and thankfully being found alive? There are horrors being committed in Syria right now, mostly by Russian bunker buster bombs. Horrors, absolute horrors. As a Jewish American, I'm very thankful that we came to the rescue during World War I and rescued thousands of people out of Auschwitz, right? Would my family be here if we hadn't done that? Right? This is very real. We have women and children that are suffering at the hands of tyrants in Syria, and the answer is not to turn our backs on them. The answer is to vet, much like Canada is doing, and welcome these folks into the melting pot that is our country. Do we have to be careful? Certainly. Are there checks and balances? Absolutely. And anyone who has ever imagined that somehow it's an open door that people flood into hasn't worked with anybody who's attempted to get naturalized or citizenship in this country. It's a hard process, and it takes a lot of time. There are many hoops that you have to jump through. So I think it's naive to imply that this is somehow they get on a plane and they land in America and they get to live here for the rest of our lives. It's not that easy. But if we're a nation, give us if you're tired and you're poor, right? We're a nation that steps forward when families suffer. I think it's our obligation to do that. And any night you turn on the news, you watch it. And to be fair, these are not just Muslim families. They're Christian families who are being subjected to the same horrors. So do we pick and choose? Does neighbor 1 get to come into the United States because they're Christian, but neighbor 2 doesn't because they happen to be Muslim? I don't believe that's who we are as Americans. And I think we have to do a better job at being clear about who we wish to be as a nation and help those children and families that need us.
We should never put a litmus test on religion when it comes to our immigration policy. Our immigration policy, broadly, and the refugee program is a part of that, should be guided by 2 factors, and one is certainly the national security of our nation. I talked about the first principle of American leadership is the safety and security of your families. But it's also the safety and security of not just the current families who are here, but the future families that will come here through the legal immigration process, through the refugee program, resettling. I think that's a righteous program. This unfortunately was created in 2013 with a leadership void in the White House, where the President and the Secretary of State drew a line in the sand and then redrew the line and redrew the line and redrew the line. I think what we need to do for Syria in particular is we need to work with our allies, and we need to build safe havens within Syria, ones that we provide protection and we provide adequate facilities and housing and the kids to get education. But to do it in Syria, the future of Syria is so much in jeopardy right now because the refugee program, and I understand it because of the violence and the chaos, but they're leaving a nation, it's a brain drain. So the folks who today could serve in leadership and those kids that tomorrow could, they're leaving that nation. It's been proven that ISIS has admitted that they're using the refugee program to infiltrate and getting into other countries. European Union, Germany in particular, France, we've seen what's resulted as a result of that. I support putting that program on pause and making sure that we can vet these folks. And no, we don't know who many of them are because they're coming from countries that don't have good background information. We can do better, and quite frankly, American families and future American families who will be refugees deserve to come here and not have terrorism and chaos that they're escaping today.